Welcome to BuzzWorthy Radio. Here's your host, Novell J. Lee.
Colton Skuster is
You're all
joining me
good.
right now, and we're all good. We're here at the Buzz, and this guy, before I even get into the one question I really do have for you, because I just want to know exactly how did this happen. So you grew up from my understanding, you are from Utah, but you were raised or born in Chicago.
Yeah, exactly.
And what I love about your backstory is that you were the guy that never really, in no uncertain terms, outgoing-ish.
Not at all. Not at all.
And I really relate to that because I was never that guy. If you look at me now, you would have assumed that I was always this way. I was completely an extrovert. No, I lived in that bubble. I never liked being around people. I didn't want to be like always in the scene when I was younger. And so hearing your story and that's also how you grew up, it was just so interesting to me because I related to that so much. What was it that got you to sort of break the shell a little bit?
Well, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what did it for me. I think there was always a part of me that wanted to be outgoing, but I just didn't have the confidence in myself to be super outgoing. I kind of struggled mentally in like my late childhood, like early teen years. I was always super skinny. I always thought I wasn't very good looking, thought I thought I would walk in a room and people would like make fun of me and yada yada. Like he's not that great of an athlete. He's a liability on the team, like all that sort of stuff. And it really did get in my head. That's how I was in my younger years. And I think what kind of got me to break out of that shell was ninja and finally finding a sport that I was really good at and something that I really, really worked hard at to be good at. And then I got to the point where I had the confidence and knew I was like that guy in the room. And that started to just translate to everything else in my life.
You know, it's interesting. I want to rewind back a little bit to the comment about how you were struggling mentally and how you didn't think that you were good enough, whether it was by looks or whether it was by athleticism. It's so, I hate saying the word refreshing for this, but I'm using that in this connotation because when people looked at you, when you did the 4 seasons of Ninja, they probably would not have expected that from you. They would never would have assumed that you went through all of those trials and tribulations when you were younger. When they're seeing you on the screen, they're seeing this guy who is persevering, who is taking on these obstacles and pun intended for this. But it's true because I'm hearing you now and I'm going, if this is not life imitating art, because I also still struggle mentally. And one of the big themes on my show I'd like to talk about is mental health. Last month was Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and May was also Mental Health Awareness Month. But it is a common theme that I always like to bring up because I'm such an advocate for it, especially going through mental health issues myself. And I do like talking to people about how do they cope with those types of issues. Because it's not something that defines us. If anything, it makes us human. And I always like to get to the root of how do you persevere knowing that you have this, but you're not making it as your crutch. You're not making it as your crutch. You're not making this as something where you're using it to make people feel sympathy for you. If anything, it's making you stronger. So hearing you as far as talking about Ninja and what you did in those 4 seasons of Ninja, especially with the first one, this is leading into the question I wanted to ask, a monkey suit. I don't know how you came up with the idea of doing this in a monkey suit, but I understand this was your idea. People thought you were nuts, but you still did it anyway.
That's exactly what happened.
Why?
You got it around the nose.
What and the why?
The what and the why.
Yes.
Let's go all the way back to early 2022 before we filmed that season. This is when I first came up with the idea. I remember I walked into the gym, one of just our regular training nights. We trained every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, ninja training, 7 to 9. It was a ritual. And I walked in after I got the call to compete, and I was like, how crazy would it be if I ran in this monkey onesie? And I had my phone out, and I had the link on Amazon all ready to order it. And my training partners were like, yeah, that would be hilarious. You're an idiot, but it would be hilarious. And I'm just like, okay, that's really all I needed to hear.
That was your selling point right there.
Yep, there was looming in the back of my mind. I'd been around this show for so long, and I knew kind of I wouldn't call it like a cutthroat nature, but it's like you want to stand out, because if you don't stand out, it doesn't really give them a reason to like keep you coming back for future seasons.
Sure.
And so I wanted to like show up right off the bat, like this is my unique twist on it, because I was, that was the first year they lowered the age limit to 17. So I wasn't the only like
Interesting.
young kid. That wasn't unique to me. There were probably 30 other young kids. And beyond that, I didn't really know what else made me special at the time. I'm a young kid who likes Ninja. There's 29 other young kids who like Ninja. What's going to keep them bringing me back? And so I was like, if I clear this course in a monkey costume, like there's no way they can say no to me in the future. Like that's awesome. So that was kind of the driving factor behind it.
Wow. I mean, it's a valid point though, because when you look at other reality shows, it's the same principle. How are you going to stand out? I'm a big Brother fan. And that's that's the catalyst right there, is that one sentence you just said. How am I going to stand out with it? Obviously, you're playing the game, but how are you going to stand out in order to play the game? So it makes complete sense for that statement. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
Would I have done a monkey suit? Probably not, but I'm also not that brave. But
yeah, it's ballsy.
A little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yes. But when you were doing Ninja, there was at least one specific obstacle that I read about that was a little difficult to surpass a couple of times, and it was the Piston Plunge.
Oh my gosh, he really brought up the Piston Plunge. This guy's done his research.
It was the Piston Plunge, and I just sat there and I went, not once, not twice, but I think it was 3 times.
Yeah, it was twice, and then I guess it was kind of 3 times. The third time I did clear it, but I didn't finish the course.
I was going to say, the third time you did clear it. That's right.
But it wasn't fast enough to go on to the next round.
How did you overcome that adversity? Because again, the first 2 times you did not clear it. What did you do in order for you to, I got to make it through. I got to make it past this? Because I want to bring up another point, is that when you first did Ninja and you didn't advance, you couldn't tell anybody for 5 months.
No, and it was horrible.
You couldn't tell anybody. For those that don't know this story, when they filmed those episodes, he literally had 5 months to where he couldn't tell anybody because it hadn't aired yet. So he had to wait literally that amount of time before he could talk about it, which one would have been a struggle for me because I tell everybody everything.
Yeah.
But it also would have given you that time to also look back and go, all right, this is what I did wrong, or this is what I need to do in order to advance into the next level.
Yep.
How did you do that for this when it came to Piston Plunge?
Yeah, so Piston Plunge, it was the 6th obstacle in the finals racing course last season. So basically, it's like the World Cup. You get put in a group stage with 3 other athletes, and everyone runs against everybody. So I had 3 races, each against the 3 other people in my group. And you're guaranteed those 3 races on the exact same course. So you're doing it 3 times. First time, went into the course, raced this really young rookie. He was a year younger than me. I thought we were about equal, but he just shot out to his hot start. Like he was just boom, right out the gate. He was leading the whole way. I was trying to catch up to him at the end, and I started to do some like ballsy quick moves on the Piston Plunge to catch up to him at the end, and I just missed my hand entirely. So it was real. I was going to lose the race either way, even if I did clear that first time. But the first fall was because I was just trying some crazy moves, like full send, just Hail Mary at that point. Second time was actually a harder opponent. This was the one I was most nervous for, actually. And I came out to the hot start. I hit a crazy move on the 3rd obstacle and skipped the beginning of it. And after I hit that move, I was in the lead the whole time. And then on Piston Plunge, I could see him in my peripheral. He was like a couple moves behind me on Piston Plunge. And so I tried to like link a move to the final dropping handle where I just pull and go straight into it without taking an extra swing. Yeah. And I didn't get high up enough. So I caught it with like my arms out here, and then it dropped. So I didn't have anything to catch myself where I needed to be up here and absorb it. So I just caught it dead arms, didn't get a good grip on it. And I literally fell off the very last move, the obstacle. Not even the piston part. It's like the dismount piece you have to catch. So like the furthest in the obstacle you could possibly fall. And that one hurt so bad because I was going to win that race if I had grabbed that, hands down. And then, third time, I was uneligible to get one of the top 2 spots in the group. At that point, it had gone to the 2 that had already beaten me. But there's a third place. One third place out of all the groups gets to move on as well. So I knew in my third race, I had to put up the fastest time out of all the third place guys to move on. And so the time to beat was 54 seconds. And my previous times, I haven't finished the course yet, but in the race where I fell on Piston Plunge the second time, I would have finished in about 58 seconds. So I knew I could get close to 54, but it was going to be close. So I just went all out. I finished the Piston Plunge obstacle, but I did take that backswing on the final dismount hold that I didn't take in the race where I fell to make sure I caught it. And that extra swing ended up costing me. I literally lost by 1 second and missed out on that wild card spot.
I was getting ready to ask that. I was wondering which one was it where it was the 1 second, because I did read that and I was going, well, that had to sting.
It was so sad looking up at the timer and seeing I literally missed it by a second. I was bummed. At first, I thought it said 53. If you watch the clip, you can see me put my arms up like I'm celebrating, and then it like clicked with me. It said 55, and then they instantly go back down, and I'm like not as happy.
No, not today. Not today.
Yeah, that was tough. That one hurt.
Yeah, that one definitely would have hurt. If that were me, I would have probably went to a corner and cried.
Yeah. I was pretty bummed.
How did you get into training for this? Like, what was it when you first? Let's even go back and before that. How did you even get involved to do ninja?
Yeah. So elementary school, it was always like my favorite show. Every single Monday after baseball practice, like it would be like, okay, we gotta go. I gotta watch the new episode of Ninja every Monday night. I was obsessed with the show. Like, absolutely.
First of all, let's shout out Matt Eisman. I love that dude. He's a friend of ours here at the show.
Really? Yeah, Matt's awesome.
He is incredible. Every time he comes onto the show, I'm in tears laughing so hard because he's
a funny guy.
He is amazing. And that's probably one of the reasons why I've been a fan of Ninja is because of that dude. So shout out to Matt Eisman. But go ahead.
He is like the heart and soul of the show. So yeah, let's go back. Elementary school. I loved the show. I remember I got this like Ninja Warrior shirt with the logo on it when I was in 6th grade. And I would wear it and people would be like, oh, that's so sick. I love that show. And I was like, I love it too. And they're like, oh, you want to be on it someday? And I'm like, yeah, I want to be on it someday. You know, you don't really take that seriously, right? How many kids want to go play Major League Baseball or play in the NBA? Right. Everybody. I did too. I wasn't even good. But something about this just like really stood out to me. A gym opened up when I was in end of 6th grade, getting into 7th grade. Old veteran of the show opened this obstacle gym in this old steel factory. And I would go to classes once a week and I just fell in love with it. A lot of kids were there to kind of just like burn off energy. Their parents sent them there, yada, yada. Like, go get your energy out and go to bed so I don't have to deal with you. But I showed up and I treated it like a literal sport. Like, I was there to get better every single week. And I was terrible to start. I couldn't even do a pull-up. But I just absolutely fell in love with it. I did classes for about a year. And then I was finally old enough to go to the open gyms where I could just go train by myself. So my parents would just take me there, drop me off. And I kind of trained by myself with my brother here and there for, the first year or so. And then things really took off when COVID hit and I built this obstacle course in my backyard because the gym closed. And that's where I trained, was on this really sketchy obstacle rig that I built out of Home Depot wood, just threw it together and trained on that until the gym could reopen. And then when the gym reopened, I met John Mack, who's like my best friend and now training partner. We've been on the show together 4 times. And we just trained together constantly. So that's kind of the journey of the beginnings and how I really got into it.
What were your immediate thoughts when you heard that you were going to be on the show?
Oh my gosh. I remember, so since I was a minor when I competed the first year, they have to get like your parents' consent in order to call you.
They have to sign off on the form.
Yeah. So they didn't call me and tell me. They texted me. They were like, hey, this is Brian from American Ninja Warrior. Do you have some time later to call on the phone? And I had known that that's what it means when you get the call as a minor, because I had friends that had already gotten it. And I was losing my mind because when I got that text, I was like, oh my gosh, like they're not calling me to tell me I didn't get on. If they don't call you if you don't get on.
Right.
They don't respond to you. And I was freaking out. I remember I got the text right after school and I just went racing home in my car. And I like told my parents, I was like, guys, you have to come here. Like, they're about to call me. And then they called me with my parents there and told me that I got on. And I was just in absolute shock. There's still a video on my Instagram of me getting that call when I was 17. And I was just in absolute shock. Like I've never like felt so like I don't even know how to describe my energy in that moment. It was like so excited, but also just disbelief. Like it was absolutely unreal.
I probably would have felt the same way if that were me. If I ever got something like that, one, I would have thought it was a spam text. I would never believe it was true or not. So the fact that you said that you knew that other people your age had already been on it, so you knew what to expect. If I did not know that was the case, I would immediately would have deleted the text and went like, "This is absolute crap." So
Stop messing with me, man. Just stop messing with me.
who was
You're not
texting
real.
me right now? I would text all my friends like, "Are you spamming me right now? Is this even really,
not funny. Don't prank me.
this is not okay." And so I
No.
think once I would have found out that it was true, I probably would have felt the same as you did in that moment, because you never would expect something like that to happen to you. And then when it
No.
does, you don't know how to react to it. If anything,
don't.
you
Yeah.
really don't. And then when you do, it's literally, I'm speechless, I'm crying, I'm jumping, I'm doing everything of all the sort. I'm wanting to call everybody living and dead. So it's
Exactly.
just having that excitement. That's a big deal. And I also want to comment on the fact that when you mentioned how you even had a ninja shirt and there were people in school that saw that and they're also friends of that, that to me probably may have been your defining moment where the shell may have started to crack a little bit, because then just listening to that statement alone where you said that, it immediately said to me, so there are people who may actually like you. And, and it's just because of the beginning where you didn't think that people really liked you. They didn't think anything of you.
Yeah.
But then here they are saying this to you. I think that's a game-changing moment. And I'm wondering too, did you think that in your head?
I think I definitely I do agree with that. I think before like Ninja was kind of where I recognized like, me, having more friends, fitting in, feeling more confident in myself. I think it kind of just came down to, it was really like middle school time when I started to feel more confident in myself. And I think it's just because I put myself out there more. Coming into middle school, I was like super involved in a lot of things. I was like the middle school president and all that stuff, which obviously, takes a likeness factor. People have to like you to elect you as a middle school president.
Of course.
But like coming in 7th grade, I could have never imagined I would have been that person. But just through like interacting with everyone, always being like a positive light in the room, and honestly just paving my own path. Like I didn't like, I liked what most kids like to do for fun, but I was always like a keep to myself and prefer to kind of stay at home and work on my own stuff and build Legos and do stuff that I really enjoyed. And it took time to finally recognize that that was okay to do what I wanted to do and not be like everybody else. And once I got comfortable in my own skin, like it started to rub off on people, and people don't care if you're different as long as you're, a positive light in the room and people enjoy being around you. And I started to see the effects of that. And then I felt a lot more confident about it.
It's amazing how you realize that at such a young age, where people to my age right now, I'm 40, going to be 41 next month, they still don't have any idea what you just said.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
And I just laughed to myself going, I don't understand why you still have that mentality of high school, even middle school to that effect. But to me, I completely agree with that. I don't necessarily feel that I came into my own until I went into high school, because I felt middle school was the toughest, because I think everybody was starting to find who they were during that time period. And I know for me, that was very difficult. It wasn't until I got to high school where I felt that I was able to slowly come into my own. I still had that shell up, and I really did not, as you said, wanted to do everything that everybody else was doing. I wasn't comfortable with that yet, still, mainly because of the trust issues aspect.
Sure.
But that was something that I did not prefer. If anything, I just preferred going bowling because I love bowling.
It's awesome.
And just watching my TV. And then I just did bowling. I watched TV, went back to school, and that was it. And then
you loved it.
And then as I got older, literally after, this is really scary. Right after high school, podcasting started. It became a thing. It wasn't really popular at the time, But
Yeah.
podcasting started in '05 and I graduated in '03. So I started podcasting in 2006. So 20 years in the game. And that's where I felt I found my voice and I found
Yeah.
who I was because of this show. And then ever since
That's
then, like
awesome.
you, I became more outgoing. I became more extroverted. And then I was able to actually show a side of myself that not everybody got to see. And it's been rewarding in aspects, but it's also been eye-opening because
I'm sure.
because there were a lot of aspects of people that I never really expected from them, which also then helped with the street smarts to go, all right, I can't have you interrupting my piece, so you got to stay over here in your lane, and I'm going to be
There
over
you
here in
go.
mine, and I'm going to keep doing my thing. So it doesn't happen right away, guys. If you're listening and watching to this right now, everybody's going to come into their own at their own time, but there's always going to be that one deciding factor that's going to make you come into your own. For you, it was Ninja, Colton. For me, it was the podcast. For you, it could be something else. And
Yeah.
this is one of the things that I love about these types of conversations on the show is because we get to find out about the person and we get to find out exactly how are they made. Basically, how are they made? How are they made? I'm basically calling you a cake that I just took out of an oven or an apple pie that I just took.
Yeah.
But it's true though, because we don't really know the makeup of what makes this person this person. All we see them is what we see on the screen. We don't really know how they got to this level. So if you're seeing Colton right now doing what he did in 4 seasons of Ninja, you're going to think that he already had that perseverance when you're seeing him doing these obstacles and he's getting back up and he's doing it again. The first season, it was 14, then it was 2 seasons after that, 16, 17, and 18. So after 2 seasons, he came back and did it 3 straight. And you're seeing him overcoming those obstacles to make it further and further and further down the line. But that's all you're seeing. You're not seeing exactly what he did in order to get here. And that's one of the boss moves that I love to talk about on the show. We get to
behind the scenes,
see it here, how you got here.
Yeah. It's a really cool thing for everybody. Everyone has a story to share and everyone has some story from behind the scenes that made them who they are.
Because they're going to look at you and then they're going to hear this and then they're going, I did not know he went through this. I'm probably going through the same thing. I'm saying probably just because I don't know if you are, if you're listening. But if you are, you're listening to this and going, I'm going through the same thing. I had no idea that this person who I watched and who I liked on this show also went through this. I thought it was just this, what I was seeing. So it humanizes the person, but it also humanizes you as the listener of this show. And I love the fact that we get to hear the come-ups. I love the come-up. I love a good come-up. And you had one because you felt some type of way. But honestly, as we learn, as we get older, it is all in our head. Unfortunately, that it's always going to be there. Even when you surpass it, it's never going to go away. But there's always going to be something that comes up where you know that you're, in no uncertain terms, the shit.
Yeah.
And then you go from
there.
And
then you realize.
And then you realize.
Break through. Yeah, I agree.
It's hard, though. I mean, it's hard to get to that point, I think, because as you discussed and as I just discussed, we don't really have any, well, at least for me, I don't want to speak for you, but for me at the time, we didn't really have anybody in the corner that was going to push themselves up. In order for us to feel that way, to have that confidence, the only person that we had was us, and us meaning ourselves, you and me. That was it. No one else was going to push ourselves up. No one was going to come at us and say that you can do this except for us. And that was it. And that's why it's so difficult, because if it's only you that's pushing yourself, it's 10 times as hard because you don't have anybody else pushing you. And then you have other people that are also bringing you down. So it's also making you think, maybe I am this person. So trying to come out from under. Yes, it's in your head. So coming out from under just on your own, that's so hard, man. That's so hard. I don't know how you dealt with that, but I know for me, it was strenuous. It was strenuous. It took a lot within me in order for me to say, I am the shit. And that, it just took every ounce of my being. I really want to know how that felt for you.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit. It doesn't happen overnight. I mean, like, goodness, it was years of constant effort. I think I had a little bit of that experience where I'm like, yeah, I'm the shit when I got on the show the first time when I was 17. But as I found out real quickly, things don't always go your way. And sometimes you can't really just
Yeah.
write your own script and it doesn't play out how you want. Like things happen. And so when I fell on the second obstacle in a monkey costume, I mean, I was so embarrassed. Are you kidding me? I was dreading the day that episode aired, absolutely dreading it. And then when it did come out and all my
Sure.
friends were like, oh, like what happened? Like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, I knew it was coming. I just fell, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully I can do it again. And then there was the part of me that was like, oh, but they're never going to want me back because I fell. Like, I'm just some kid who's, blah, 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 all that stuff. Didn't
Yeah.
get called for the next season, and then miraculously got another chance in 16. I put my heart and soul into that application, and I was glad that they kind of saw through that. And then I had to kind of start from square one in season 16. I was like, okay, they gave me another shot. Like, I need to make this count because this is my last shot. If I go out early again, there's no reason for them to give me another chance. And, that was the most nerve-wracking run I've had in my entire life.
Sure.
But you can literally see it's kind of sad because my qualifying run in season 16, they didn't air, but I made it to the fifth obstacle. I fell on the fifth one, and I'm just like celebrating in the water. And my mom's like screaming and crying because she doesn't think I like went far enough, fast enough to move on. I knew that I went far enough, fast enough to move on, even though I didn't finish the course. And that was kind of just like a moment of celebration. I was like I made it through qualifying. Like I'm going to the next round. And then the next round is where I got my first buzzer and kind of just like kept rolling from there. But like it doesn't happen overnight. I didn't just go like this is a great example. I didn't just go from falling to then clearing every course. Like I went from falling to falling again, but I made it a little bit further. And then I started to finish courses and I started to really get that confidence like, okay, I can finish these courses and I can keep going. And it was a progressive effort. It was not a one time change it all thing. And I still fall. I mean, you brought up Piston Plunge. I fell on it 2 times. I've fallen on all sorts of other obstacles too.
It's such a great point that you bring up about how when you're writing your own story, it doesn't go the way that it does, because we do write our own story. Yes, there's going to be mistakes along the way, but that's how we grow. And I think that should be something that a lot of people should look at is that we don't expect you to be perfect, but we definitely want you to be the best you.
Yeah.
And that's all we're saying. And if there is a takeaway from all of this that you want people to not embody but think about, what is it?
I really, really think it's just like don't be afraid to go after your own path. Don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to fall in line with what everyone tells you is what you should be doing, what everyone tells you is the life you should live. If I had just like stayed in my bubble and gone the normal route of okay, like sports didn't work out for me, I'm just gonna go through school, through the motions, go to college, get a job, yada yada, just be average all my life. Like if I had that mentality, I wouldn't be where I am now. And it's hard. It's really hard to like get out of that and say, okay, I'm gonna like pave my own path and I'm gonna do this seemingly impossible thing that people don't realistically think I can do, but it's always possible. And it just matters how hard you want it. Like how many times are you gonna like fall and get slapped in your face but still get back up and do it again and do it better every single time and build on that over and over. And like I think everyone in this world has a unique talent, and you can't be afraid to let what other people think bring that down and make that not the reality for you. Because at the end of the day, like, who cares what people think? Like the people that care what you're doing and have the audacity to say something negative about it, like they need to do some inner soul searching themselves. Like that's not who you should be worried about. People who are either not commenting or supporting you, those are the people you want to spend your time with anyways. So if anything, it'll tell you who your real friends are, and it'll tell you what kind of people you should be hanging out with and what kind of people you should.
100%. You can't have people dictate your life. And as you pointed out beautifully, it's going to open up your eyes on who's with you and who's not. So you definitely want those that are riding with you in your corner. And as I even said a few moments ago, those that are not, you want them to stay in their lane. You don't want that interrupting you don't want that interrupting your flow. You don't want that interrupting your peace. So
exactly,
whatever you have in you, if you have a dream, chase it. I always say that to people. If you have a dream, chase it. Like you, I never expected to do this, what I'm doing right now. I didn't.
Yeah.
This was not in the cards. I felt, and listening to you go like, I could have done this. I would have went to college. I would have had and I'm sitting there going, yeah, that was me. I was going to go to college and do computers as my major, computer technology is my major. And then this came along, and this changed the complete trajectory. It was not even the first thing. It was not even a focal point. And then ever since then, here we are.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's, it's also cool because you don't have to like completely abandon the path of what is considered normal. Like I look at myself, like I'm still in college right now. I'm still going to school, still getting my degree, still doing an internship right now for a career that I could see myself doing. But what I've set myself up for and what I see as a possible plan for the future, I always say possible plan for the future because I more than a lot of people know that it could be completely different in 2 years.
Absolutely.
But to take my unique aspects and my strengths and put a unique twist on something that is already normal or something that everyone else is already doing. Because, there's so many things to do in this world, but there's also a lot of people that try to do it by the book and a lot of people that try and do it like everyone else does. And, if there's something out there like a career that is fulfilling and makes money, yada, yada, like there's always going to be people that are going to do it. But if you can find like your unique niche and your unique twist to put on it, that's where you can like fill the slice of the pie that like drives you and gets you around the people you want to be around. And then all of a sudden it's not an average life anymore because the person next door who went down the same degree path as you is not getting in the same doors as you are because you're putting in the extra work to like blend your passions with your career. And I think it kind of changes the game.
Oh, it absolutely does. And don't get me wrong, guys. I'm still in pharmacy. That is, I've been in that for 20,
exactly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm doing math in my head. 22 years. And I'm still doing that on top of this. Now, would this be the dream? Absolutely it would be. But pharmacy is still in my blood. I'm still doing that. It still is going very well. But as you just said, you can't plan for the future because it can change right on the dime. So I'm fortunate that I get to have both of these things as my two professions. But if one were to go away, I had the other one, and it would still be life fulfilling. So I'm fortunate enough to be blessed with that. And I'm just going to keep continuing to do what I do because I'm the shit. So,
you sure are. You sure are.
As are you. I really did appreciate the time that you spent with me doing this, and we got to talk about everything ranging from ninja to mental health. This was amazing and relating to you so much. I gotta have you back. There's no
I'll come back anytime. I'll come back anytime, man.
Definitely, man. Colton, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, Novell. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to The Buzz. Catch all episodes on Spotify. Remember to like and subscribe. Visit BuzzWorthyRadiocast.com.